Hello students, let us see some problems on the resultant force today. So the first problem here, the forces A to B Newton, negative to A negative B Newton and 5 negative 4 Newton act on an object to keep the object in the equilibrium. Find A and B. So here, what do you mean by the object is kept in the equilibrium? That means the resultant of all the forces acting on the object is 0. So let us take F1 as A 2B Newton, F2 as negative 2A negative B Newton and F3 as 5 negative 4 Newton. And let us take the sum of these three forces, F1 plus F2 plus F3. Obviously, this is the vector sum. So that is the resultant. So we will get A 2B plus negative 2A negative B plus 5 negative 4, which is A minus 2A plus 5, 2B minus B minus 4. So that is negative A plus 5 and B minus 4 Newton. And since the object is kept in equilibrium, that means this resultant force minus A plus 5 B minus 4 is 0 Newton. That means I will equate it to the column vector 0 0, which gives negative A plus 5 equal to 0, or that is A is equal to 5 and B minus 4 equal to 0, that is B is equal to 4. So the value of A is 5, value of B is 4. So keep it in mind that whenever it is said that the object is in equilibrium, that means the resultant force acting on the object is 0, or that is the vector sum of all the forces acting on the object is 0 Newton. So let us come to the second problem here. The resultant force of minus 3I plus 4J Newton and 4I minus 3J Newton is R. So calculate the first part, the magnitude of R, and second part, the bearing on which R acts, or we have to find out the bearing of the resultant. Okay, so let us take F1 as negative 3i plus 4j Newton, or that is minus 3, 4 as a column vector. F2 is 4i minus 3j Newton, that is 4 negative 3. So R is the resultant of F1 and F2. That means R is F1 plus F2, which is negative 3, 4 plus 4 negative 3, and that is negative 3 plus 4, that is 1, and 4 minus 3, that is 1. That means I can say R is 1i, that is I, plus 1j, that is j, I plus j Newton. Now I want to find out the magnitude of this resultant. So let us go back. Suppose there is a vector ai plus bj, and I want its magnitude. How you find the magnitude? Square root of a square plus b square. And hence here the magnitude of vector r will be square root of 1 square plus 1 square, which is root 2 square root of 2 Newton. And secondly, I want to find out the bearing on which this resultant is acting. So let me just sketch the resultant here. So this is XY system. Now in this XY system, I will just sketch the vector. Say the vector is this one. Okay, so this is the vector I plus j. Now I will drop the perpendicular here. So since the coordinates of this, the vector is I plus j, that means the coordinate of this point will be 1, 1. So suppose this is A here, this is M here. So OM will be 1, AM will be 1. So I will find out the angle theta first. So tan theta is equal to y upon x, which is in this case 1 upon 1, that is 1. So theta is tan inverse of 1, which is 45 degrees. But I want the bearing, and as we have already seen, the bearing is the angle made by the vector with the north direction in the clockwise sense. So this will be the bearing. So I will take the bearing as alpha, and hence alpha will be 90 minus theta, which is 90 minus 45, that is 45 degrees. So that means R acts on a bearing of 45 degrees. Okay, so when you find the resultant, you just add all the forces acting on the object, and if the resultant is in the form AI plus bj, its magnitude is root of a square plus b square. And when you want to find out the angle, first sketch the resultant in xy plane and see which angle you want to find out. Okay, mark that angle, and using trigonometry, SOHCAHTOA, you can find out the angle. So I will give you some problems for practice. So the first one, forces 2ab newtons, 2ab newton, then A negative 2b newton and 21 0 newton. These are the three forces acting on the object, act on an object so that the object remains in the equilibrium find A and B. Okay, so again, equilibrium means the sum of all the forces is 0 newton. Then the forces minus 3i plus 4j newton, then I plus 2j newton and 4i plus j newton act on an object the resultant of these forces is R Newton. So first part, calculate A, magnitude of R, and B part, the angle made by R with vector Z. So just try these problems for homework. Whatever are the doubts, ask me in the next class. Okay, which the concepts are becoming clear to you. See you in the next class. Enjoy the day ahead. Bye, students.